Turn it up, let it start. From block to block, we snatching hearts and jacking marks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Morning Toke. My name is Eddie Law. It is September 11th, 2018. And not a lot to talk about today. Just it's kind of I guess somber day, right? For a lot of people, for everybody really, especially the ones that were still, that were actually, around. I think it's like 17, 18, I think 17 years ago, 18? No, I think 17. So it's a trip to think about, right? Like where everyone goes, oh, where were you when this happened? Where were you when that happened? Where were you when 9/11 happened? And I remember I've always been an early riser, so I get up super early, and that's always because ever since I was a little kid, I would go to work with my dad, and we go to work at 3, 4 in the morning. So by 5-ish, I'm wide awake, right? So I remember on September 11th, I was in 10th grade in high school, and what was it? Oh, I used to listen to this hip hop station, or it's still around, but they had this radio morning show called Kid and Ruben in the Morning. These guys always pulled pranks early, ridiculous pranks. Some got them in trouble. They convinced people that aliens were taking over, right? They were literally giving out fake reports of there's been alien sighting here and there's billions destroyed, and they were pretending that it was real. I can't believe this is happening. And we've been told by police to do this and this and this. And people because we didn't have cell phones yet. We had cell phones, but we didn't have cell phones, right? It wasn't huge. There was no texting, and the internet was still, rather young. So there wasn't a lot of instant communication. There was no Twitter. There was no Facebook, shit like that, right? For instant communication, instant news and shit. So people believed the fuck out of the report, and they got in deep shit for it. So on September 11th, I remember, my radio turned on, the alarm would turn on around 5:30 or so, 5:40 something. And they were talking I can't believe it. World Trade Center's been hit by an airplane. We're not sure if it's an it looks like an accident, whatever. And I'm these motherfuckers are doing it again. So, went downstairs, fixed myself a bowl of cereal for breakfast. Went back upstairs. This was at my parents' house when I was in high school, and went back upstairs and turned the TV on, and holy fucking shit, if it weren't fucking right, every channel has the same picture, the same video, same feed of one of the World Trade Center towers. I don't know, I forget if it was 1 or 2 that got hit first, but with smoke coming out the side, right? And so he was oh shit, wow, this is real, all right. So he sat there watching it, and it was really crazy. It was really sad, but to me, the crazy part was wondering, man, what happened to people that are in the building? Because if you think about it, look. It was 5, it was 5:45 a.m. here, something like that. I forgot exactly when the first one hit, but when the first one hit, it was the difference between times between Arizona and the East Coast is 3 hours or so, right? So, it was already 9, almost 9 a.m. for a lot of people over there. So you're just wondering, shit, there's people working in that building. I hope, the people that I hope there was nobody in the area where it hit, but who knows, right? And so they, I remember sitting there just watching it, just damn, it fucking sucks. This is crazy, right? And still wasn't time for school yet, so I was just, sitting there watching it. Couldn't start watching it really. My mom woke up, came upstairs, and she's like, "What's going on?" Because she heard all the noise and shit from the news broadcast, and she couldn't believe it. She was shocked. My brother, my sister, all of us were sitting there just watching it. We couldn't take our eyes off the TV because it was kind of wow, that's crazy, right? But there wasn't a panic. There wasn't the hair-raising moment that came just minutes later when the second airplane hit live on fucking TV. You were watching the feed and they're describing how the first one went down and what's going on. All of a sudden, you just see this airplane come just flying in, hits the second one, and it took the anchor a couple seconds to react to it. I'm assuming he was looking at his paperwork or something, or his papers, his the bullet points, outlines, whatever they gave him. And I'm assuming he was looking at that because he took a couple seconds to react to the second airplane hitting, and it was just like you instantly knew that shit was on purpose. The second you saw the airplane hit, you knew that shit was on purpose. That was not an accident. That was an attack. That was a very carefully planned attack. And you knew all these facts within moments, within seconds of the second airplane hitting, because there's no way two airplanes hit two different buildings and two towers in the same day, especially not the way that the trajectory that second airplane went at. So you're just like, what the fuck? Immediately, it was a hair-raising moment. You were immediately like, we're being attacked. In the United States, the last war that happened here was in Civil War, right? Since then, there's been, Oklahoma City bombing, the 1993 World Trade bombing, where they set up a bomb in the basement because those idiots said it would actually knock down the building. I'm assuming that's what they thought. I haven't read. I think I read somewhere, I think in a book, that's what they were thinking, but they actually attributed that one to Osama bin Laden too. But there've been a bunch of, there are a few different things here and there and all that, but never like where you just know your country's been attacked, right? It's crazy. It's a crazy moment as a 10th grader to be like, what in the hell? I was like 15. I was like, what in the hell is going on? Right? So it was time for school. Obviously, we're not gonna get let out of school. We had to go to school. So, we go to class, we go to school, whatever. And then my first class was math, algebra 1, 2. Yeah, I was awful at fucking math. So I was like, I wasn't behind. I hit all the standards, but I was like the minimum standard because I'm awful at math. I'm great at writing and reading and language and all that, but math has always been my weak point. But it was algebra 1, 2, and I remember my math teacher, like, we had the TV on. She had the TV on when we walked in, so we sat there and just stared at it. Like, it was the same picture, just the two buildings, smoke coming out, right? And it was just like, whoa, this is insane, right? And then we get word then we get a news broadcast about the Pentagon getting hit, and then another airplane crashing in Pennsylvania. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, at that point, you're just wondering, like, how many more planes are gonna be like hitting, right? So you're just waiting for the next one. Like, how many more? We got 4. How many more are we gonna get? And you wonder if there was more, right? I did. I do sometimes. Like, I still, like, I wonder if there was more. And they somehow just weren't able to make it to the, they just didn't go down, whatever, right? And we never heard the story. But 4, I was like, whoa, this is insane. This is crazy. It doesn't make sense. And as a freaking teenager, I was scared too. That's a scary moment. Anyone that wasn't freaked the hell out, pretty damn scared when it went down, I don't believe you. Whoever says that actually they weren't fucking scared, I don't believe you for a second. So after that, the towers go down, and it was, right before that, like, if you went on the American stations, like, they were showing just the buildings, right? The rest of the world, their cameras, their stations were showing people jumping from the building. Like, they were showing people jumping, like. Some of the Spanish stations, the Mexican stations were showing like people falling, jumping off the building. It took a while for them to, cut that shit out, but they were showing that shit all out, right? So you knew that was happening. Just like, man, that shit, like, they can't breathe from the smoke. They would rather jump out than choke to death, or asphyxiate, or whatever the word is for basically choking on smoke, or burning to death. Right? They would rather jump. And you just felt fucking awful for them. Because it was just like, God damn, like, these people are just, they'd rather jump. And you just can't believe it, right? Like, I'm sure everyone that watched that shit go down live, especially the ones in New York, especially the ones that were in it, are like traumatized for life. Especially people that related to people that lost their lives and everything. Traumatized for life to like the craziest degree, right? So then the towers fall, and it was like, you couldn't believe it, right? Because you just like, wow, that looked like a controlled demolition. That went straight down. Whether or not, like, whatever the truth is behind all that, I always think about the people that died on that shit. You know, whether or not you believe it, you know, it actually went down the way they say it went down. Like, people still lost their lives. We still lost like 3,000 people. So it's when the towers fell, it was pretty crazy. You never felt like America was like at its knees, right? And you didn't really feel it then, but it almost like seemed like, man, we're pretty vulnerable right now. Like, this is not good, right? We normally, you think of America as like, a position of power and all that, and no one's gonna fuck with us and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden this happens. It's like, dude, like, we can be touched. They can come here. They can touch you. So I remember after that, like that same day, they grounded all flights. All airports were closed, and it was like the world was at a standstill. You know, and then reports of, who was responsible and where they were at, and how we're gonna go after them and shit. But my mind was always on, like, dude, 3,000 people died. Like, in one of the most horrific ways possible. It's crazy. So, I don't know. I honestly, in 17 years, I haven't thought about how to remember that day. I remember how I felt. I was angry. I was scared. I was fucking, I thought we should all have gone home. And we didn't. We stayed there all day. I think basketball practice was canceled that day too. We just went home. No one wanted to do anything. Legit, no one wanted to do anything. A lot of people got taken out of school. Like, a lot of people's kids' parents came and picked them up, took them home. At that point, you just want to feel safe, right? And as a parent, you just want your kids to feel safe. Ain't nobody feeling safe that day. So, but I think the thing I'm proudest of was the aftermath, how we treated each other for a while. It didn't last, honestly. It lasted just a few months, and then after that, we're back to being at each other's throats for the dumbest shit, like political affiliation and shit. But for a while there, we were on, like, everyone had each other's back. It was pretty wild, and nothing that I had ever seen, like, in this country before, right? 'Cause I'm not from here, and so coming here when I first got here, I was like, wow, everyone's like on their own, like, everyone's like, every man for himself type of shit here. That was the first time I saw everyone being on the same page, being together, having each other's backs, and we really haven't seen it since then. You know what I mean? So you wonder if it's always gonna take something like that happening for us to be like on the same team and realize we're all human and shit. But I don't know. I think when I think about that day, I just remember that. I remember the people that died. And I remember how we were like one, like, team. We're one group. We're one people, right? And it didn't matter what race you were, gender, sexual preference. None of that shit mattered, because we as a whole got attacked, and we as a whole were gonna stand up and fuck somebody up with this shit, right? So I don't know. I guess ultimately my thoughts are this on 9/11. It's a somber day. I know some people actually try to get this thing like to be like a national, like a federal holiday, just to for remembrance or whatever. But you don't want to make a holiday of this day. Today's a day just to reflect on your life and how good you have it, really. You know what I mean? Like, how good you have it. You're alive. You're breathing. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might have a couple personal problems, but you're alright. You iron those out. You'll be alright. You'll be okay. So, I guess that's what I'm thinking. Just remember, just understand where you're at. Be grateful for where you're at, for your position, for not position, but for your health, for your happiness, for your family. You know, be grateful you're here for that. Be grateful you're here to struggle. That that you're struggling. Struggling just means it means you're alive, right? It means you're alive. And you have this opportunity to make something happen with your life. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people were robbed of that on that day, and other days too. But like a lot of people were robbed specifically on that day of that. A lot of kids grew up without parents. A lot of parents lost sons and daughters. So I guess today, if I was to suggest anything, would be that day of reflection, and hopefully, it will maybe give you a little bit of perspective, and you'll understand hopefully what I mean by saying that you're lucky to be alive, even if you're struggling. All right, folks. All right, it's gonna do it for me. I had nothing else really. That's all I thought about really. I think it's all like this for all of us every year. So, stay safe. Hug your loved ones. Hoping the best for you and your family. And I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.